It's gunpowder, flintlock pistols, gold coins, all sort of weapons of war of that time. Pike heads, for big spears and stuff. And then in the early 1970s, Loshan, in the early 1970s, the Queen Elizabeth II, a cruise ship, Armalite rifles were smuggled on the Queen Elizabeth II of the Ireland. So the saying became the Pope sent us muskets and swords, but the Queen brought us the Armalite. You know, and it turns everything on its head, like. So this spot here, it's now Spaghetti Junction, an Italian restaurant,
Spaghetti
and
Junction.
it was formerly known. Whoever named it, it was called um, Agro Corner. Agro Corner. Agro is an abbreviation, a short word for aggravation or aggression, because there was a lot of fighting took place, kicked off at this spot. This is a good spot because that is the Royal Mail sorting office, and sometimes when people were angry at the Crown forces, they wanted to bring them on, so they might throw a few petrol bombs onto the sorting office, and then the Crown forces would arrive, and people would do back with them from then onwards.
I remember playing it. I remember like when about fucking 6 or 7 and my mad hitting it on the shop like on a Sunday here and the bus was burning.
That was another spot.
And it was just like it was fucking normal. We were just walking past as if it's normal. It was mad, now we got back on it.
We normalised, um, uh, a sort of uh, an unusual situation. Unusual they put it lightly. It was actually we were living in a war zone, but we made normal lives out of it.
Happy?
Now, oh indeed, JP. So this is like I say, it was known as Agro Corner because of the aggression and the aggravation. Now the street that we're coming onto is called Roswell Street, and it was an embattled street. That's putting it mildly. And like I say, the white handkerchief became a running theme. There are many wall murals, paintings here. Now, the first mural that you will see across the street is simply a white handkerchief, and it is to signify the white handkerchief that the priest and other Bloody Sunday victims waved at the soldiers to show that they were unarmed. A bit like the flag of surrender at the end of a battle or a war. The only thing is, the people who were waving the white handkerchief had never actually been at war. They were just uh, taking part in a peaceful protest, and they were being fired on. The aggression was from the British military. And before we cross the road, you will see it will be behind you a mural on this wall. Uh, Spaghetti Johnson. Okay.
All the action. Seen a lot of action.
This is how it was then, 1970, and how it is now. This is the same spot.
Spaghetti Junction.
Ngayon yung dati.
Oo.
Ngayon, ito na siya.
May tour kami ngayon. Tour guide. Educational tour.
Vlogger now. A vlogger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agro Corner. A lot of the paintings on the walls, these are some that you will see, and there are one or two that aren't on that you will see. They were painted by a group of men pictured at the bottom.
Yeah,
William
Kelly.
Aye.
Kelly, that's it.
Known as the Bogside artist. As you can see, one of them has died. Now, the first mural that you saw was the white handkerchief, and it's not on that. I don't think they are the authors of that painting. But there's also a mural at the other side of the road on Spaghetti Junction, and it's one of the few non-conflict, non-political that they've done. It's it's simply a young woman who looks like Sophia Loren, sitting on a moped in the sunshine, surrounded by all things Italian that we like, the wines and the foods and all that, the olives and the vineyards and the grapes. Um, and I'll talk a wee bit more about that in my conclusion. But as we come close to these murals, I'll talk a wee bit about each of them as well as other things while we're in between the murals.
Wala na pala tayo sa wall, pre. Andun yung wall, oh.
But here is a scene. It's taken back in 1970, and I'll pass that around. You can see here the window boxes that you can still see,
Yes.
and that wee slanted wall just at the end of that block.
Yeah.
That becomes significant later.
This one is British Army.
Yes.
Yes.
Most people.
So people of Derry.
Yeah. These flats used to be here,
Yeah.
Mm.
and this is here.
This one is building over there.
Oh, some action.
Yeah.
Lots of action.
See?
Look how many stones. Look,
Yeah, the people there, look.
stones.
Yeah.
Mm.
Where do I put that?
They're fighting for freedom.
Fighting for freedom is right.
Oh. They have only stones and they have guns.
You see if you were a Protestant house and you had 6 members of a family, you get 6 votes. If you were Catholic
Ah.
and there were 6 people in the house, or maybe more, you get 1 vote.
Oh.
One Protestant businessman with a reasonably sized business had 6 votes for himself for one man.
For one man, one Protestant man, not
6
Catholic.
vote.
Catholics only get one per
One vote.
family.
Yeah.
Oh.
These are the big flats that I spoke about, and these are the sectarian police force, the Royal Ulster Constabulary, and they're now standing where we are. Some of the rioters are on top of the flats, and these are the flats that I spoke about. Now, from the flip side, we have a picture of a young boy
Oh.
A petrol bomb.
uses a bin lid, trash can lid as a shield, and these are petrol bombs, Molotov cocktails. These are the flats that we stand beside. They had a flat roof at that time. They were only partially built, and these are these guys here.
British.
The IEC loyalist police force, and they were being attacked from above, like an aerial attack with petrol bombs.
I've seen videos from musical theatre, some wash machines and everything down in Parliament.
All they did, and people used to say it was an old saying in Derry and other places. They got hit with everything except the kitchen sink. Well, in actual fact, they did get hit with the kitchen sink because after the people who lived in the flats moved out, all the flats were derelict, and the fittings from within the flats were used as ammunition to drop on top of the British military and their vehicles.
No longer the flats na empty for a big
Ito talaga may malaking ano dyan.
Oo, may malaking building
Sabi
dyan.
mo, sabi mo.
Imagine nyo lang, may malaking building dyan. Yung sa drawing kanina. Nandito, nagira dito. Mga British Army doon. Mga tao ng Derry dito. Mga Irish. Fight for their freedom.
people power.
So,
People powers versus the police of British.
tsaka kung magbutuhan dati, pag Irish ka, kung 6 kayo sa pamilya,
Laki Katoliko.
Katolik ka, isang boto lang yun. Pero pag hindi ka Katoliko, yung Protestant ka,
6 votes sa isang tao lang.
6 boto isang tao. Intindihan pa rin natin, no?
Kahit hindi sa barok, no?
Pero kung si JP yung tour guide natin, ang hirap intindihin. Siya maganda yung accent niya eh.
They died a few weeks later in a car crash in Germany or somewhere like that. But the prison they started. See, this is becoming Derry. It was a gradual thing over the years. They were living in ups and downs, but around 1980,
Hanggang ngayon no, pinag-ano pa rin nila yung ano no,
Oo.
pinapaint nila sa wall, ganun ba?
Kasi nga,
Yan din yung makikita mo sa Germany pre, ganyan din pre. Meron din sila doon. Kasi nag-fight din nila ng freedom eh.
tawag man ng UK, di ba?
Mm.
Eh, siyempre, kesa ma'am.
Kaya ayaw nila, ngayon ko na ano, kung bakit nila magpatawag.
That's why.
So I'll talk about some of the murals here, right? That there's a religious mural, and it remembers Saint Columba, who is our patron saint. Saint Columba was from royal blood, from a Donegal royal family, the O'Donnells. His name was Columba Colum or Columkill. That's his name in Gaelic, Irish, English, and in Latin. Now his name means a dove. Dove. Column means dove. So you can see the outline of a dove.
Yes.
And he built a number of churches and other religious buildings here in the Derry. The word Derry comes from a Gaelic word Dura, which means oak grove. You'd see the oak leaf outline. So the dove of the church in the Derry in the Dura, if that makes sense. You can just see a wee crucifix in the very middle of it. Now, these other pictures are all temporary picture boards put there mainly by groups who oppose the peace agreement. Groups like CIRU, the IRSP, Irish Republican Socialist Party, and the 32 Sovereignty Committee. They still carry out occasional armed actions, and some of their members are put in jail.
Usually not very successfully.
Once in a while they do a bomb or a shooting. Yes, Paul. And then some of their members go to jail, and they try to liken their members in jail to the fight for political status and the hunger strike of 1981. Which I'll come to now, talking about this mural. This time the mural
This mural is meaningful.
Yes.
shows two young men from the city who died on the hunger strike in 1981. Imprisonment, the imprisonment of political prisoners, instead of quelling resistance, it made things worse for the British from their own point of view. In 1971, they introduced internment. Internment is imprisoning people without evidence, without judge, jury, or trial. They just arrest people saying, I think you've been shooting at us.
You go to jail.
Jail.
Oh.
Jail.
Just take the jail.
Jail. Straight to jail. So the people protested, and the first people who came out on the streets to protest, the parachute regiment of the British Army shot dead 11 people in Ballymurphy, Belfast. One of the people that they shot dead was a priest, a Catholic priest, Father Mullen, who was waving a white handkerchief while he went to try and give the last rites to a wounded man.
No.
So 11 people were killed that morning. 6 months later, in this city, there was a large march. Came from the hill of Cragan down here onto the bogside, intending to go to the city centre. The Reverend Ian Paisley held a counter-protest. He was a loyalist. The British banned the civil rights anti-internment march, and they threw up barricades around the city centre. And at the first spot where we stopped earlier, where I showed you the troubles kicked off, the British had a barrier there. Some people went down, argued with them, spat at them, and then fighting began. A small riot, nothing major, no petrol bombs, no nail bombs, no blast bombs, just stone throwing, stones and bottles. The British fired rubber bullets